All right, guys, I do have a hump day editorial for you. This one comes out of Minnesota. No, not Minneapolis, but it does come out of Minnesota, and an attorney wants to get back at this guy. Or what am I talking about? Thank you, Fox 21 Online, for this story. Duluth attorney Andrew Poole spoke out Monday about felony charges filed against Duluth police officer Tyler Liebfried, who shot his unarmed client, Jared File, through his apartment door during a domestic assault call on September 12th. Andrew Poole said, "The facts are this is a case where Mr. File was in his own home behind a closed locked door and is shot in the back. That shooting was a purposeful act. This is the first time in the Duluth Police Department's history that an officer is facing felony charges for firing his weapon on the job." St. Louis County Attorney Mark Rubin also says it has never happened with any other local law enforcement agency through his office. Andrew Poole said, "You're supposed to be protected when you're behind the locked door of your own home." According to the criminal complaint, Liebfried is accused of firing his weapon 6 times through the door of File's downtown apartment of Kingsley Heights Apartments on West 1st Street. File was struck 1 time in his back. The bullet remains lodged in his shoulder area because the surgical procedure to remove it is considered high risk, according to Andrew Poole, attorney. The complaint says 1 second after the first 4 shots were fired and before the final 2 shots, File is heard on body camera video yelling, "Stop, stop, stop," and "Stop, please, stop, ow." The woman involved in the argument told police on scene before the shooting that she was not assaulted, according to court records. The complaint says Liebfried told investigators he was approaching the apartment to talk to File and retrieve belongings for the woman. Liebfried went on to say he became nervous seeing the narrow hallway to the apartment, relating it to a fatal funnel, a term used from his military training. Liebfried then mistakenly thought he heard 2 gunshots coming from the apartment, according to the complaint. So did another officer on scene who told authorities he did not shoot because he wasn't sure where the sounds of shots actually came from. File told authorities he never heard police announce they were they, and the shooting happened after he kicked the door to make sure it was closed before locking the deadbolt and turning to walk away. Meanwhile, Andrew Poole says while he's thankful for the felony charges of 1 count of intentional discharge of a firearm that endangers safety and 1 count of reckless discharge of a firearm within a municipality, he believes the St. Louis County Attorney's Office could really hand down an attempted murder charge. Andrew Poole said, "When you're using lethal force against somebody, what other conclusion can you make? It's severe. It's obviously a grave charge that I'm referencing, but that's the fact here. That's what happened." St. Louis County Attorney Mark Rubin had the following to say after having former prosecutor and retired Assistant St. Louis County Attorney Vernon Swanum review this case. "I have reviewed the independent review conducted by Mr. Swanum. After the review of the file myself and his report, I reached the same conclusion as Mr. Swanum did, mainly that Tyler Liebfried's conduct fails the objective reasonable officer standard and that it was not an objectively reasonable use of deadly force. Therefore, it was not under Minnesota statute section 609.06 and 609.066 justifiable under the circumstances," Rubin said in a prepared statement to the media. "I have concluded and have alleged in the attached criminal complaint that the conduct of Tyler Liebfried rises to the level of the felony offenses of intentional discharge of a firearm that endangers safety of another and reckless discharge of a firearm in a municipality," Rubin added. Liebfried is a 5-year veteran of the police department. A mugshot is not available until he is summoned to appear for arraignment at a date yet to be determined. Each of the 2 charges has a maximum sentence of 2 years in prison and or a $5,000 fine. Liebfried remains on paid administrative leave. His employment status will be determined after an internal investigation by the Duluth Police Department is completed in the next 7 to 10 days. Yes, we're going to investigate our own. Hey, we find no fault. Police Chief Mike Tuskin is expected to speak on this case after the department review. Meanwhile, Police Union President Dan Boyce released the following statement. "Situations involving officers' use of force are difficult for the officer, the department, involved individuals, and the community. Officer Liebfried is a dedicated police officer who serves the Duluth community with compassion and pride. The Duluth Police Union continues to support Officer Liebfried through the due process of the internal investigation being conducted by the Duluth Police Department. We have not seen all of the details of the investigation and it would be premature to comment on the incident itself. As recognized by the United States Supreme Court, the reasonableness of an officer's particular use of force must be judged from the perspective of a reasonable officer on the scene, rather than the 2020 vision of hindsight, and the reasonableness must allow for the fact that the police officers are often forced to make split-second judgments in circumstances that are tense, uncertain, and rapidly evolving about the amount of force that is necessary in a particular situation. As with any person accused of a crime, he is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Now, I'm just going to quickly say something on this. Yes, he's innocent until proven guilty. Yes, cops have to make split-second decisions. But shooting through a door at some guy, well, I heard shots. Did you just shoot 6 times through a door? What if there was a kid inside? What if there was a baby sitting on the couch? I don't know. What do you guys think? You let me know in the comment section below. Community Leo Watch, watching Leos. That's law enforcement officers to include military-type cops in Duluth, Minnesota, from coast to coast.